I'll get started again. Thanks guys for coming. Thank you students for turning on your cameras on. For those who have not, if you can kindly do so, we greatly appreciate it. We want to really welcome everyone again, and if you have not checked in, please do so. You're going to check in and check out using the QR codes. So the one that's displayed here, please check in. And I wanted to let you know that in this session, somebody in here, as well as the one attending the other session, A, will be able to win a really awesome gift card. So, and it's, I think it ranged from like $5 to $10. So, be excited because I am. I wish I could win one. Again, I'm Mrs. Escoto. I'm the career specialist at Portola. I'm not quite sure where all you guys are from. I'm sure some are from here, some are from other schools, but welcome. Thank you for coming. We're going to have Dr. Jiang Peng speak on the title, Pursue Your Career Dream in the Public Sector. So I'm going to pass him the mic and he's going to present his presentation. Please be respectful, please be muted, and listen and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's very nice to be here and talking to you folks. So today I'm gonna basically just use most of the first half an hour, 40 minutes to talk about where I came from in terms of my background and educational history. And most of the time, I will talk about what I do. So I think right now you're in a period where you're going to think about what you're going to do hopefully for your professional career. Many people actually tend to change career every few years, right? But, chances are you're going to be in the career where you're going to stay for quite a long time, maybe the rest of your life, so that, you really want to be in a place where you're doing something you enjoy, you like, and doing something hopefully you're good at, so that going to work is not a chore. You actually look forward to it. So because you're gonna spend a third or more of your life half of your waking hours to doing these things. So it's very important for you to actually think about what you're gonna do in the future, and for you as well, which college you're going to go to, what major you're going to be picking, and that'll pave the way for the professional career. So today I'm going to cover what I do and give you some insights. I also want to give you some insights in terms of, in terms of the public sector and private sector, right? Because, there are different types of work. There are also different sectors. Working in the public sector and private sector could be quite different. So I'm going to give you this perspective as well. So first, just a brief introduction of myself. I'm actually a university high parent. My son, he goes to university high. He's a sophomore. And like all of you, he's also thinking about what sort of a professional career he's going to have. And as far as I know, he's not decided yet. So I just want to press for, I'm curious, but I don't want to pressure for too much, because at this age, probably it's good to actually explore a little bit. So for me, myself, I actually, I have a pretty complex history, because, I'm actually from China, and I grew up in a Gobi Desert in Xinjiang province, northwest China. It's actually way northwest. I'm actually proud of a fact where my hometown actually is a geographic center of a Eurasia continent, right? The map, it's a little bit distorted, but my hometown actually is right in the center. So it's a very special place, and my parents are teachers. So they basically are displaced because of the Cultural Revolution, and we grew up in a place where people are all immigrated there. So this is my first life, because this is where I grew up, and until I went to college, similar to your age. Then I went to college actually at southeast China, so which is on the very other end of China. And it's always an interesting trip from one end of China to the other end. And this is a part of my educational experience too. So I got my bachelor's degree from Zhejiang University. It's one of the biggest university, also established pretty early, where their engineering and electric engineering and other architecture major are one of the best in China. But my major is environmental geochemistry, and I do have a minor that's English. So I think I did well in college, and this actually shaped my professional career because I found myself enjoying it. But in terms of the how I picked the major, it's actually a little bit complicated, simply because of the educational system in China. So you actually don't have 100% freedom picking your major. But that's something that I can talk a little bit about later. But the important fact is that I was lucky enough to be in a program that I found I really enjoy, and later on I found out I'm pretty good at it too. So I think this is some of the things you want to keep in mind going forward. After the bachelor's degree, I went to graduate school at the Chinese Academy of Science with a major in organic geochemistry. So that's sort of followed my educational history. Then my second life continued because I did get a bunch of degrees. So in 1998, I came to the States at a scholarship for my PhD at USC, and my major is marine geochemistry. So as you can see, there is a logo of USC, and who can recognize this two personality? Speak up. I know, Ricardo, you probably recognize maybe one of them. You're on mute. Oh, are they on mute?
Yeah, let me, okay, oh, here you go.
Sorry.
Ricardo, speak up.
Yeah, what's the question again?
No, my question is, can you recognize this one or both of these football players?
Oh, I don't. Like, I know that USC and UCI are like, they have, yeah, like.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. Because these are actually, both of them have retired, and they're actually one of the best. On the left, it's Choi Polamalu. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. He spent most of all of his career in Pittsburgh Steelers. Then on the right, it's Carson Palmer. So the reason why I bring them up is just because they are actually in my class. So I taught them oceanography when I was the PhD student. And my major, I'm on scholarship, so I was a teaching assistant. So they're actually, both of them are pretty good students, and Choi Polamalu is really good. So this is one of the story I enjoy telling people, because this is something that's pretty cool. I'm actually also getting my MBA from UC Irvine. So in terms of the sports, actually, UC Irvine and USC are usually not competing on the same level, because UCI is more academic. Their basketball and volleyball are better. But now I'm actually in my third year on the MBA program, because this is something that I found very interesting, because I'm trained as a scientist. So I think I know essentially how the natural world works. But in terms of the business side, I'm always curious how the money works. So, and MBA actually teaches you how to do well in organization. And even in the future, you can even have your own business. So this is something that I've always been interested, and MBA is the program that I'm actually in. One of the things to keep me busy. So that this is where I am. My third life actually is, really going into the theme of this talk. So I worked first as a scientist in the research institution. It's called Southern California Coastal Water Research Project. Then it's my current, I worked there for 4 years. Then I moved on to Orange County Public Works. So this is where I've been working for 13 years. So this is, I've been in this position for quite a while, and this is where I want to share with you most of the time. So right now I'm the North Orange County Monitoring Manager for the county. So basically on the top right, this is a map showing all of the monitoring stations for weather. Our weather stations are actually part of the National Weather Service. We also have stream level stations where we can tell without going out to the field how high the water levels are, so that if there is a risk for flooding, we let people know so you can get out of the way, not to be hurt. Most of the stations are for water quality monitoring, and this is actually my core business. I spend most of my time working on. So I do water model. I don't know if could you click on the link? This is one of the things. Oh, here. So you can zoom in. On the left, upper left, there is a click. You can click to use the full screen. No, go down.
Oh, here.
Yeah, here. Then you can zoom in by clicking the plus sign, because I want to actually show you for some of the schools. For example, University High. You can zoom in, and these are the rivers where we have monitoring stations. The dots are different monitoring sites. Different color indicates different program where we actually do either we're collecting bugs, we're collecting water, we collect mud, we collect bird eggs, and things like that. That's really cool. Then we measure the pollutant like nutrient, sediment, or heavy metals, organic pollutants, pesticide, things like that, and see how well we're doing. In doing so, we protect human health, folks like you, right? We also protect birds, grass, fish, and things like that. So these are, as you can see, there are a lot of different stations, and these are the things we do. And all of the information we collected, we put them in a database, and we analyze how well we're doing, whether we meet the regulatory requirement. If they're not good enough, we can design water quality management programs to improve it so that we can protect bugs, water, and folks like you. So now we can go back to the slides. So I also sit on a number of environmental committees, expert panels, and scientific advisory boards. So these are mostly issues regarding cutting edge issues like microplastics, PFAS, pesticide, toxicity, and things like that. So a lot of different issues. So I just want to tee it up, name some of them. I think some of you, if you're really into the scientific topic, or especially environmental science, feel free to bring up the question at the end of this lecture. I really love to talk about it if this is of interest to you. I also serve as a connection with the research and education community, because I actually taught at Cal State Fullerton and UC Irvine. So it's interesting that last year, I actually wear 3 hats regarding UC Irvine, because I'm a student. I am a parent because my older son actually goes to UC Irvine. I'm also a student. So student, teacher, and parent, 3 in 1. I also have a lot of joint projects with UC Irvine and other universities. One of the projects involving all of the 5 campuses in Southern California. in my spare time, I spent actually a big chunk of my time promoting the China-US collaboration, mostly on environmental issues. I also, did research, and recently I actually published a paper, a book on the environmental issues. So, next slide. Yeah. So to answer some of the questions where I try to address in this presentation, because for you, I think I really envy you because you're in such a young age. There's still really bright future and endless opportunities for you. But now, I think it's good for you to spend some time thinking about what you're going to do in the future. One of the common misconception could be, right, you could easily be inspired to do different things. Like you want to be an NBA player because, if you crack into this circle, I think in terms of the job satisfaction, compensation and all of the really cool things about it, it's nobody want to say no. However, you also want to think, if this is the right career path for you. For example, really getting into this is way more difficult than winning a lottery. Also, you want to think about what you have. What is your strength before you actually jump into it? So on the top, you can see Yao Ming has a picture with Djokovic and Roger Federer. These are top of the line, world-class tennis players. However, assuming that Roger Federer wanted to do MBA, right? Compared to the folks like Yao Ming or some other people, they're way too short, even though they are actually in good size. Maybe when they think about what they have, their talent, where their talents are, they probably want to think twice. Also on the bottom, it's a player. Just after the NCAA Final Four. Well, after all is said and done, what really he needs to think about, what needs to be done. Of course, many of the student athletes become very successful businessmen, or they, actually use their education to achieve a lot of different things. The lesson about this is, you can't, just have one single option. It's really good to have aspiration. It's really good that you put effort in something that you enjoy, but at the same time, you want to think about, is this a place where, you are well positioned, right? You have the talent, you have the work ethic and things like that. So these are the things you want to think about. In terms of the, my own story, I think the pathway for me to pick what I do right now, well, part of it is the China's educational system, where I don't have a lot of choice. I ended up stumbled into a career that I ended up and I actually, I'm good at. So I'm very thankful. I also think, as I mentioned, you need to have self-assessment and adjustment. Sometimes things may not go entirely your way, so you want to do adjustment. You also want to think about your personality, whether you are outgoing or more introvert. I'm an introvert, but I can, force myself doing some, sales person sort of skill, but, in the long run, it's going to weigh you down, right? You want to think about, you want to be a salesman, you want to be a nerdy scientist, or some other things that you really think that this is something that you feel comfortable doing, right? So think about it, because otherwise, in the long term, it's gonna have an impact. Of course, if you go to a college and get an advanced degree, you not only you spend effort and probably your money or your parents' money, and you get a degree. This should at least, very least, be a factor when you think about your future career, because the training, when you go to a good college, that should be a big factor in terms of how you pick your future career, because you have something that most other people don't. You also want to consider the socio-economic conditions, their constraints and opportunities, right? The COVID thing right now, probably you think about, maybe, the COVID probably has the biggest hit on the gig economy, where a lot of careers are non-existent. However, cybersecurity or some other stay-at-home sort of industry blossomed. The other speaker today talked about cybersecurity. That's a big career where you can think about. My environmental field is not impacted by COVID whatsoever. Something to think about. Private sector, again, public sector has the least impact from the COVID, but this is something that you cannot predict, but this will impact how you pick your future career. Next, please. So in terms of the required qualification skills, I want to do a little bit generalization, but I don't want to be too generalized, because the field I'm working on, we have about 50 people. All of them have college degree. So this is a little bit different, right? For most of the government or private sector, unless this is a very highly technical field, you very rarely see that all of them have college degree. We have 3 PhDs and many, many master's degree. And all of the college degree, it cannot be 2-year college. It has to be at least 4-year college and certified, schools. So this is one of the qualifications for my field. But I don't want to generalize, because I do see that there are really good career choices for even if you just have a middle school degree or high school degree or 2-year college, that's fine. I just think, for particularly the work I do, because it's highly technical, we require a college degree. But in terms of the discipline, it's pretty wide. Could be general science and engineering, could be math, because you can, with a really good math skill, you can do so much different things. Physics as well, right? We talked about the stream gauging or the water level measurement. If you're good at physics, that'll be very helpful. Chemistry, of course, we talk about water quality, biology too, so that when we catch bugs, we can see whether it's doing well or not. Earth science, that's actually my major. Environmental science, that's probably the most number of students, my colleagues with this sort of degree. Statistics, environmental engineering, chemical engineering, software engineering, programming, and data science. So a lot of different discipline. You could actually, after getting the discipline, the degree, you can work for us. But most of them actually centered around environmental science. So we have a lot of environmental scientists with specialization in different fields, math or chemistry or programming, so that you can all work for us. We also usually require 1 to 4 years professional experience. And I want to stress internship, really. This 1 year professional experience can be a stumbling block for many people, because if you are fresh out of college, usually you don't qualify for our job unless you have an internship with us. So this is something that if you go to college, or even before you go to college, there are opportunities. In terms of the skills, because we're a highly technical organization, we require technical knowledge. You need to know how the pollutants are generated, how they move around in the environment, how they ended up into the biology, the biology meaning the fish, birds, and other things, including human body, and how we can design projects to reduce the pollutant so that the environment is protective or healthy for everyone, including the bugs and humans. We also really require critical thinking skills, because I talk about mostly technical requirement, but really to make things work, that require a lot of critical thinking and soft skills, because you don't work alone. You need to collaborate with many other people, your colleagues, the folks from different socio-economic backgrounds, also different interest groups. In terms of certificates, it's not absolutely required. Usually a 4-year degree will be required. That's about it. We don't have a hard requirement, even though I have a bunch of certificates. So that's what I can share with you. Next, please. So reward of my profession, you can see that I always have a smile in my face working simply because it's pretty enjoyable every day. It could be stressful, right? I struggled for time because there are so many different things to do. And now is the budget season, and I have to figure out all of the money where, to budget and pre-plan for next year. There's so many issues around the areas that we manage. There are so many initiatives. So I would say, that's one of the the things that I really enjoy, the variety. But in terms of the tangible rewards, I want to say tangible and intangible. I think in terms of how much we earn, I earn above average. I think we also have pensions. Pensions is a little bit different from the other type of retirement. So basically, depending on how long you work, you actually have a income even after you retire. So this is something that I think for your teachers, they have pension as well. This gives you peace of mind. In terms of the intangible, that's something that cannot be measured by money. My profession really, I think, as I mentioned, there is a huge, wide range of projects. Could be biology, could be many different disciplines, just to keep you try your best every day, and they are all very interesting. So you also have an opportunity to do different trainings, and you learn different things. I learn new things every day, so including today, right? So I think that actually gives a lot of job satisfaction, even though, again, up to you, but the flexibility means a lot. There's also ability and freedom to work on really cutting edge environmental issues. So for all of the issues you can think about, I probably more or less directly or indirectly working on it. So I encourage questions from it in the discussion session. The other thing, in terms of public versus private sector, I really want to stress, in the future when you consider going into different field, but there is also public or private sector. I do think for public services, really it gives you a sense of purpose and sense of service. I think all of your teachers share the same thing, because really make a difference on the environmental quality, sustainability, the future generations. That means a lot to me and to your teacher. And I think by working in this sector, it gives a intangible reward that you really appreciate. So you think about it. On the private sector, you could also work on these courses, but usually I work with private consultants a lot, right? Even though they, for the most part, they think they are doing the right thing, the service to the public and sustainability. But they have to consider the bottom line, where they have to earn money for their company. And sometimes the money is such a big factor in what they do and how they do it. It impacts how they conduct their business and set their priority. So I just want to share with you, in the public sector, there is this. And also there is job security. That this is also a big factor where, in the COVID period and in 2008, when there is a national issue in terms of financial crisis, private sector has a much less impact. So this is something that you want to consider. So pros and cons. Private sector, probably you can earn more money, but the benefit probably in the public sector can compensate. So this is the balance act. Next. Challenges, okay. So challenges, I think the good challenges are, as I mentioned, it's pretty technical. It could require a lot of learning. And, there are also requires soft skills and hard skills. Even with a PhD, I still, think it is very important to really know the art of interacting with people. This picture is one of the workshops that I participate. I actually help put together where we have this environmental issue. We bring people from all over the country, and some people are, actually national experts in environmental science. We also have local stakeholders. We have non-profit organizations. We have consultants. We have lawyers. We have city managers. We try to bring them together to solve this single issue about selenium in the Newport Bay watershed, which is in the heart of Orange County. So Irvine School District. So this is something that, could be challenging, but could also be very rewarding. So this is a good challenge, right? The bad challenge, I wouldn't say bad challenge because this is recorded. I would say the other challenges, right? The other challenges could be, this probably is associated with the public sector, but I think it is true for many other jobs as well. When you work in a small company, everybody just work efficiently. But when you work for a big company or you work for public sector, sometimes there is a little bit bureaucracy and politics. Again, that requires soft skills. How you interact with different people. How you understand where they come from, why they have this position, why they don't do the things you want them to do, right? Why they don't do the right thing that you think is right. So you need to think about, how this works. But on the big picture, politics is something that impacts the efficiency. And sometimes it could be frustrating. But I think, when you grow up, when you step into the professional world, this is something you want to keep in mind. Next. So in terms of the tips in entering into the field, okay, if I have been successfully convinced you that environmental field is fun, interesting, challenging, then you're gonna ask how to get into it. Well, first of all, you need to think about what you are passionate about, right? Even assuming that you are interested in environmental field, because this field is so wide, you might want to think about whether you want to be an environmental chemist, or you want to be an environmental data scientist, or you want to be an environmental engineer or manager. Again, think about what you are good at, what really inspires you. To get this information, you can go to online resources like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Monster, Indeed, or some, check with other people, or go to this sort of seminar. I'm providing some information about environmental. There could be some other folks talking about different things. So learn more and feed the information into your decision. It'll be very helpful. Talk to professionals. If you happen to know some people, it's always good. I'm absolutely sure they're gonna share with you what their perspectives are. If you wanna go to college, well, if you really want, this field, you probably need to get a college degree. And to do that, you need to actually make good grades. So, then lastly, even when you get your college degree, when you are in college, I strongly suggest that you get an internship program. So on the bottom, these are our interns. They do all kinds of different things. Over the years, 10 years, I'm one of the people managing our internship program. We went through about 100 different people, including people from Irvine School District. One of my favorite intern actually is from Uni High. He went to USC, and that's one of my USC alumni. Most of our interns are from UC system, but That particular intern actually was pretty good. And after interning with us, they became very successful in their field. Many of them actually became one of us. So this is something that I strongly encourage you to look into. You know, if you go to college, internship is definitely the best way to crack into a field. You also want to go to professional conferences, talk to professionals, and get certificates if the certificates are required. Next. So this one is I'm not too sure about, but I do know that the school district do have expectations on ROP or CTE courses. So what I mentioned, from my field, because I'm in the natural resources, I list this one, but Ms. Escoto probably could elaborate a little bit, but I want to open up the floor for questions as well.
And we actually have a question from Laura. Do you mind unmuting yourself, please? And you can ask your question.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
So I said, what are your opinions on environmental law as a career? And do you think environmental lawyers create real change in the community?
Oh my goodness, this is a really good question. Let me tell you from this different perspective, right? So first of all, very few people actually, the environmental lawyer I've dealt with, very few of them actually enter into this field out of school right away. They usually, they go to college, right? Then they go to law school. Then they, intern at a law firm before they pick a specialization. Environmental law, if you really want to do well, you want to have environmental degree as well. So a lot of the environmental lawyers that I'm dealing with, they actually are, they have a scientist background. So that's very interesting. One of the highest paid environmental lawyer, every hour he earns $1,000. He actually is an MIT environmental engineer. Think about it. So I hope I answer your first question. There are different pathways for you to be an environmental lawyer. The second question is, well, the part of the answer to the first question is that I think legal field, it usually has, if you get your degree and if you pass the bar, it's like a doctor, you can get, the compensation is pretty good. So the second question, do I think environmental lawyer create real change in the community? Well, it depends, really. So I sort of alluded earlier, in the environmental field, there are different interest groups, right? We are public sector, we try to do good for the environment, but we also see conflicts between different interest groups. So for environmental lawyers, they usually represent different groups. Some represent the private sector, some represent the regulator, some represent the public sector. So they tend to have a different opinion. Some of them are pretty fundamental. So it's very hard to say whether they definitely make a very big impact. They're dealing usually impacts big project like desalination project, Poseidon project in Huntington Beach. They struggled for 15 years, still no resolution right now. $50 million spent just for, a lot of things, including the legal services. So you could see the, argument from both ends, but definitely very big impact. But in terms of positive or negative changes, I really think that depends. Overall, compare the United States with other nations. Overall, I do think that the legal community in the US has a generally positive impact to the community.
And then Dr. Jiang, we have another one from Kira. Kira, please unmute yourself.
I don't want to. I want to keep this short, but unfortunately, I have a long list of questions.
Oh,
I guess I'll ask my three most prominent ones. As a worker in the environmental public sector, you have a lot of experience with human health and its direct relation to global warming. Many fear that my generation will not have a chance to get married and live a long life because of the deaths caused by global warming in the future. What obstacles do you think we'll have to face if we pursue your study of field? I guess I should ask my other ones too while I'm at it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is a huge question, but good question. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You encourage critical thinking and teamwork skills. What do you recommend students do in order to develop in these skills? Because I'm aware you had this workshop of some form. So I'm asking what you did in that specific, I guess, workshop, and what kind of papers and exams did you need to write or take when you got your degree?
So do you want to finish with all three of your top questions before I answer, or you want to go one by one? Kira?
Oh, there were three. The one was the global warming one. The other one was about internships. Oh, I didn't ask that one, but I have a question on internships. And then another one was what you recommend to do encourage critical thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Let's first answer the first question. Well, internship is easy. I think for high school, you probably there are internship program. For example, we publish our internship program. Mostly we're geared towards college students, mostly in the summer session, but we occasionally have high school interns as well. Usually that's much less because I think their schedule-wise and also the technical nature of our work, it's a little bit more than what is required for high schooler. But you can definitely check out. We have a website. You can send me an email. I think Ms. Escoto has it. In terms of the human health and global warming, this is the topic that I discussed extensively in my book. This is something that it's not core to my job responsibility, but this is something that I really worried about. Also, because my PhD is on marine geochemistry, I actually pay attention to global change and how the change in the atmosphere and the ocean could impact us. This is something I do think as older adults, we feel guilty about, because obviously over the past decades and past century, we have not done a nearly good enough job protecting the global warming, even though there are uncertainty in terms of what's going to happen if this same trend going to keep going. But just from the huge risk that it could pose, we should take it seriously. I like the analogy where the Earth is like a Titanic. We adults are drivers, and we know that the Titanic probably gonna sink, and the younger generation gonna sink with us. However, we are not doing nearly enough to correct the issue. But I think that it's also gonna take some process to really affect the change. There is this Paris Protocol and many other initiatives, and California is actually in front. I just hope that with the push from younger generation and politicians and other industry leaders, we can make a difference. So this is the best answer I could give you. This is such a huge issue that I still don't think there is a absolutely clear and promising solution. It really requires everybody to put the best effort. Your last question in terms of the critical thinking, as I mentioned, this is actually one of the soft skills, even though I do think that you can improve your critical thinking skills by branching out your knowledge into different fields. I talked about the environmental lawyer, right? you know, if you're just a law degree from, you know, your English major, history, then law school, then get your bar, it'll be very hard for you to be a successful environmental lawyer, because you may not have the understanding of how the environment works. So by again, you know, environment field is such a multidisciplinary field. You really want to focus on your field, but also branch out to different classes, so that it really help you when you are faced with an issue. Your thoughts are not constrained in just a narrow angle. That way, it'll help with critical thinking. In terms of the certificate, there is no specific or training on critical thinking, but I do think that different perspective. A lot of podcasts, they're going to talk about how you can train yourself in terms of you know, thinking things in different ways, open up to different opinions and things like that. But again, that's the best answer I could come up with. But this is all of the questions are really good. I thank you for that.
Students, we have one more question from somebody if anyone wants to ask a question. If not, we're gonna wrap it up. Is there any further questions from anyone? No, we're good. Okay, can everyone give some air claps, please? And then we could thank Dr. Peng. Before you guys all go, please do the student evaluation. The QR code is up here now. Just click it or use the link, the tiny URL, and then do that. And then stay tuned. We're gonna announce probably tomorrow, since this is a holiday week, whoever won the raffle for that awesome gift card. Other than that, thank you for coming, and thank you, Dr. Peng, for being our first guest speaker on session B. If there's no further questions, please do that evaluation, then you guys can head on out. If you have any further questions for Dr. Peng, you can always either email, if you're not from Portola, you can email your career specialist at your school. That's, I think, it's Mr. Hassan Awara, I believe, at uni, and then Northwood and Woodbridge is Mrs. Renters, and then I'm Portola, Mrs. Escoto. So yeah, if there's no further questions, thank you again, guys. These are awesome, and have a great Thanksgiving.
It's really my pleasure. Thank you for attending.
Excuse me, I still have one more question.
Perfect.
What advice would you give to someone that is who is interested in your career?
Yeah, so I sort of alluded to some of this question. You really want to know a little bit more about it. You also want to do a self-assessment, making sure that this is something. Imagine yourself, putting yourself in my shoes. You are faced with you know, global issues, local issues, and you need to deal with you know, scientists and other people, and you need to have the technical and knowledge and soft skills. Are you made for it? Is this something that you're going to be interested? If the answer is yes, think about, you know, getting a college degree in the related field. And when you're in college, get an internship with the public agency or the private sector, get exposure to it. And if this is still, you know, what you're interested after internship, I think you're ready for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any further questions, guys? Unmute yourself and you just ask away if you have any questions. We have like 7 minutes left before our Zoom ends. No? Okay. And did everybody fill out that student evaluation QR? Okay, awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you again. And thank you, Dr. Peng, for being here. And this is a wrap. So let's call it a day and stay safe, please. It's, you know, COVID time. So like the doctor said, everyone, please be safe. Okay. All right. You can all log out whenever you guys are done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.